أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت معدود ولا أجل ممدود فطر الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالصخور ميدان أرضه والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعن الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقان الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى آمنا بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Shura that say, I do not ask of you any reward for it, but love for my near relatives. This ayah most of us know by heart. We know its meaning, but it has a lot of other aspects that are with it. So we will discuss a little on this before we go to the actual Shahada. And that is, what is it that brought this revelation? The first aspect is that when we look at ourselves, there comes a time that we need and we do realize that had it not been for Rasulullah, the way Allah tells us, that had it not been for Rasulullah, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, we would have been in shirk wa dhalal, the way we also address and say it in our ziyarat of Rasulullah also, that if it had not been for Rasulullah, we would have been amongst those who do shirk and those who are amongst the dhalal, meaning the ignorant ones, the jahil ones, and all that comes with it. So therefore, in realization of this, that it is a blessing of Allah that we have reached the door of Rasulullah, where He has given us that enlightenment to come towards Allah, and with all the sacrifices and all the effort that He has made, there needs to be some form of gratitude from us. Because He is the one who not only made our dunya, but mainly He made our akhirah. So there has to be some form of a compensation, rather gratitude. And like all other prophets before Rasulullah were asked, so was Rasulullah asked by the people. And this is where we come to this realization that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left any aspect of our lives in ambiguity. He has clarified everything until the day of Qiyamah that we may need for our life and our well-being and our moving forward. All the other prophets, when they were asked, how do we compensate you for your sacrifices, for your efforts, for your hard work in guiding us, all of them said, our reward is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are ayahs in Quran that show us the number, some of the prophets that have been named. But when Rasulullah was asked, it is at this time that Allah now orders him to say that I do not ask of you anything except the love of my near ones. And that also Allah is telling Rasulullah to seek love of the Ahlul-bayt, the one who are the near relatives of Rasulullah, as compensation. He is not asking for any wealth. He is not asking for anything that is dunyavi or any other aspect except love. And in that love, what I will do to please those who are in the Ahlul-bayt is what will take me towards them. Now, the best part is the second half of the ayah. When this ayah, this is part of an ayah. The verse that is to complete this ayah says, وَمَنْ يَقْتَرِفْ حَسَنَةً نَزِدْ لَهُ فِيهَا حُسْنًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. And whoever earns good, meaning one who goes through this payment of compensation, he earns good. Allah says, we give him more of good therein. Surely Allah is forgiving and surely Allah is grateful. Meaning that if the more we love them, the more we will go near them, the more near we go to them, the more enlightened we will be, and the more our rank will be with them on the day of Qiyamah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we ask ourselves, what is this principle of love and hate? Of course, hate is the opposite of love. So what is this principle of love and hate? Do I love Rasulullah or do I love Abu Abdullah because his face was good? Or do I hate somebody like Yazid and Muawiyah and the lot because their faces were bad? Or whether they're because they were Quraysh, or whether they were rich? Do I hate somebody because of his richness, because of his physical being, or what? When we look at this, we come to a conclusion that I cannot say that I don't like him or I hate him because of his face. Because his face was not something that he made it for himself. His face was because Allah gave him that face. If there is somebody handsome or beautiful and I love him because of that, it is because Allah gave him that face and gave him that beauty and handsomeness. But if somebody is not that handsome and not that beautiful, I cannot hate him because of that. Because that is not something that he made for himself. But we love those who are charitable. We love those who are generous. We love those who are merciful. We love those who help others. Because those are characteristics that they have acquired. And that is what we do. Love is because of the characteristics that are acquired. And when we come to this, it is very openly and very imminent that we understand this. That love and hate rotate around what Allah loves and hates. Love and hate is not because I don't like a particular tribe or I don't like. For example, we don't like Saddam Hussein, not because he was an Iraqi, not because he was an Arab, not because he was a king, not because we hate him because he persecuted people, because of his injustice that he committed to people. Similarly, we do not hate Hitler because he was a German or because he did what, but because he did dhulm on people. So the bottom line, the reason for love and hate is what Allah loves and what Allah hates. Allah hates injustice, be it from amongst us or be it from amongst the other tribes. It does not matter. What Allah loves, we love. Allah loves generosity, we love the generous. Allah loves charity, we love the charitable. Allah hates injustice, so we hate injustice. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this is what it is, that we love everything that Allah loves. And Allah wants us to make ourselves such that His attributes that He has, the 99 names are His attributes. He wants us to become like those, and the epic of that manifestation of Allah's attributes is the Ahlul-bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. That is Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, and therefore we say our entire love and hate rotates around this ayah of La as'alukum alayhi ajran illa al-mawaddata fil qurba. When we say this, we say whoever falls into this qurba, we love them because they are the manifestation of the attributes of Allah. And therefore we love them. And whoever goes against them or against those who love them, we hate them too. it is not only hating the enemies of the Ahlul-bayt, but we also hate those who love the haters of Ahlul-bayt as well. And therefore, we do not accept anyone who does not fall under this principle. Now, many times we ourselves, forget outsiders accusing us, many times we ourselves feel that sometimes our ulama, our zakirin, people who come and lecture us, exaggerate these things. And they go beyond for this love and hatred of Ahlul-bayt. So today let us, as a glimpse, look at a tafsir which has been written by a prominent Ahl Sunnah, the Mufassir. His name is Zamakhshari, is known as Zamakhshari. His name is Abul Qasim Mahmud ibn Umar al-Zamakhshari. He is a prominent Mu'tazili scholar who has written the tafsir of the Quran. He is from Hanafi fiqh, and he has written this famous tafsir Al-Kashif or Al-Kashaf. He was born in the year 1074 Hijrah, and he spent most of his life in Bukhara, Samarkand and Baghdad. He lived in Makkah for many years, so much so that his followers call him Jar Allah, the neighbor of Allah. In the year 1132 Hijrah, when he was nearing to the end of his life, he has written this tafsir and completed it in 2 years. He is very highly known amongst the Sunni circles for his eloquence, his knowledge of Arabic language, his literature, his critical thinking and general academic skills. However, there are certain scholars who have criticized him for him being Mu'tazili and for his viewpoint of categorizing the ayah of the Quran in Muhkam and Mutashabih, a very similar opinion that the Shia ulama have also. And he himself is a staunch critic of the Ahl Sufi. He does not accept the Sufi doctrine. When he comes to this ayah of Mawadda, this ayah that we recited of Surah Shura is called ayah of Mawadda. When he comes to this in his tafsir, he says and he asks this question, who is this qurba of Rasulullah? And he says, for them, our not only love, but even their obedience has been made wajib upon us. And then he says that who are these that we need to love and obey as a matter of wajibat, as a matter of obligation by Allah that is placed on our shoulders. And he says this is only referred to Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajmain. He has an academic argument for it, and when he finishes that, he says now that it is time that we understand the importance of why we need to love the Ahlul-bayt. This qurba, which is the Ahlul-bayt, says why we need to love them. And he says, and he narrates about 10 to 12 hadiths, statements rather, as hadiths from Rasulullah Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is another matter whether these statements were given by Rasulullah in one sitting or in various sittings. That is not the discussion we have. But he narrates and he says that Rasulullah has said, Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin mata shahida. Surely whoever dies with the love of Ahle Muhammad in his heart, his death is like that of a martyr, a shaheed. Then he says, the next one is, Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin mata maghfuran lahu. Meaning one who dies with the love of Ahlul-bayt in his heart, his death, upon his death is the one like who has been forgiven. Then he says with the third statement as Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin mata ta'iban. Surely whoever dies with the love of Ali Muhammad in his heart, his death is like the death of the one who has sincerely repented and his tawbah has been accepted. He says the next one is Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin mata mu'minan mustakminal iman. Surely whoever dies with the love of Ali Muhammad in his heart, his death is like the death of one who is a mu'min, whose iman has reached the level of perfection. Then he says, Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin basharahu malakul maut bil jannah thumma munkaran wa nakir. Surely whoever dies on the love of Ali Muhammad in his heart, malakul maut gives him the glad tidings of Jannah, the bashara of Jannah, and so will the angels Munkar and Nakir when they come for questioning in his grave. This is one of the reasons why we say a death of a mu'min is going to be very easy. And his even questioning will become easy provided he has sincere and true faith. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Then he does not stop here. The next statement he says, whoever dies with the love of Ali Muhammad in his heart, he will be prepared to go to Jannah in similarity to the way a bride is prepared to go to her husband on her wedding night. And then he says, the next one is, surely whoever dies in the love of Ali Muhammad in his heart, 2 doors of Jannah will be opened for him in his grave. This is before Qiyamah. And whoever dies with the love of Ali Muhammad, his grave will be made as a mazar of the angels, where the angels will come of mercy throughout the period of barzakh. And then he turns to the reverse and he says, Allah wa man mata ala bughzi Ali Muhammad. One who hates Ali Muhammad, Ja'a yawmul qiyamah maktubun bayna aynain aisun min rahmatillah. Surely whoever will die with hatred towards Ali Muhammad on the day of Qiyamah, he will come while it will be written on his forehead that he has no hope in the mercy of Allah. And he says, Allah wa man mata ala bughzi Ali Muhammadin mata kafira. He is a kafir, he is a disbeliever. Allah wa man mata ala bughzi Ali Muhammad lam yashummuhu rahiyatul jannah. One who will die with the hatred of Ali Muhammad cannot even smell the fragrance of Jannah. One who dies in the hatred of Ali Muhammad. One who does not know Ali Muhammad, it is our duty as lovers of Ali Muhammad to show them the reality of Ali Muhammad. When we do la'na towards those, and that is the principle of tabarra, that we do la'na upon those who, knowing the merits and the qualities of Ali Muhammad, still committed those crimes against Ali Muhammad and their followers. This is a principle. Now, when we look at it, there is another tafsir. Imam Fakhruddin Razi also has quoted this entire hadith of Zamakhshari in his tafsir, who is also a Sunni also. And then he has even argued about what we, the Shias, accept. And he has argued towards accepting our viewpoint as loving of Ali Muhammad sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So therefore, when we are told, why is there so many majalises that you have? Why shahadat? Why wiladat? Why this? Why that? Why do we have to gather in the center so many times in a year? Yes, it is because of our love towards Ali Muhammad. We love them so much that we sacrifice everything just to please them. And what do? We come here and we talk about their teachings. When we talk about their teachings, who is earning? They are at a rank of Maqam Mahmud. They do not need any further rank than they already have been given. It is us who is benefiting out of learning their teachings. For example, when we say that why do we have to praise Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi? Why do we have to do his zikr all the time? Why do we have to praise him all the time? Let us understand one very basic principle of doing the fadail of Amir al-Mu'mineen. What fadail can the entire universe do whose fazilat is such that Rasulullah says that, "O Ali, only Allah and I know you." And the one who is done the fadilat of Ali is Allah and Rasul. What can the entire universe put together do? We cannot do anything, but by doing those fadail, if we take lessons from it, and if we learn of what our role models are like, and if we take cues from that and we try and improve ourselves, we are earning much more than what we can give to them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali. However, these fadilat, this fadail that we do is not restricted, and the love is not restricted to the menfolk only. As far as we in the Shia Islam is concerned, we extend this to the very well-known women as well of the Ahlul-bayt. We do not segregate between men and women like the Taliban. We are those who have appreciated, not only appreciated, but Rasulullah has put this foundation of knowledge and ilm and ma'rifah in the women folk as well. And it starts with none other than Fatimatu Zahra salawatullahi wa salamu alayha. So we have this concept of ziyarah that we have. We go for ziyarah of our Imam. But do we leave the women folk of the Imam as well, or the Ahlul-bayt? No. We go to Sham for the ziyarah of Janab Zainab. We go to Samara for the ziyarah of Hakima Khatun and Narjis Khatun. We go to Qom for ziyarat of Masumai Qom. We go to all these places. The biggest grief that we have in our hearts, and that will remain even when we die, is that we do not know the exact place of burial of Fatimatu Zahra, Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen. And when we see the little history that we have of the women folk of the Ahlul-bayt, we see that the women folk were as much in knowledge and ma'rifah as the men. They were not behind. And today we want to commemorate the shahadat of one of the daughters of the Imam, the daughter of the seventh Imam, Fatima, daughter of Imam Musa al-Kadhim, salawatullahi wa salamu alayk. This lady was born in Medina on the 1st of Zulqad in the year 173 Hijrah in Medina. She is popularly known as Masuma al-Qummi because she was buried in Qom, and she is also known as Karimatul Ahlul-bayt, the generous of the Ahlul-bayt. Tahira, Rashida, Ukhte Rida, because she is the sister of our eighth Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida, salawatullahi wa salamu alayk. Her martyrdom is 10th or 12th of Rabi Thani in the year 201 Hijrah, 1 year before the Imam. And her place of burial is Qom. She was only 28 years old when she was martyred. 6 years she was with her father, after which Imam Kadhim alayhi salam was imprisoned in Baghdad, and she was under the guardianship of her brother Imam Rida alayhi salam. And her esteemed status is such that there are narrations like, for example, our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayk, says, "A lady from my children whose name will be Fatima, daughter of Musa, will die in Qom on the day of judgment. This lady will intercede, that is, do shafa'at for all my Shia to enter heaven." In another hadith he says, "A lady from my children by the name of Fatima will be buried in Qom. Whoever visits her shrine will certainly be admitted to Jannah." Whilst the eighth Imam says, whoever visits Masuma in Qum is like the one who has visited me. That is the importance of our ziyarah. Now, when we look at this, there is an instance where Ayatullah Sayyid Mahmud Marashi Najafi undertook a special amal of 40 nights and days. And the reason for this is he wanted to seek from Allah to know the exact location of the grave of Fatima Zahra salawatullahi wasalamu alayha. So upon completion of his 40 days and 40th night, when he goes to sleep, he sees either Imam Muhammad al-Baqir or Imam Jafar al-Sadiq salawatullahi wasalamu alayhim in his dream, who answered his prayer and said, I advise you to go to the Karima of the Ahlul-bayt. So the Ayatullah himself says that I told the Imam, but that is exactly why I am doing this amal, that I want to be by the graveside of Fatima Zahra. And says, no, I am referring to the Karima of Ahlul-bayt, which is Masuma Fatima Masuma al-Kummi, who is buried in Qum. The Imam then did not stop here and said, it is Allah's desire, that is the will of Allah, that the location of the holy grave of Janab Fatima Zahra be hidden from everyone. And therefore the ulama advise us that when we go for the ziyarat of Janab Fatima Masuma in Qum, it holds the status of doing the ziyarat of Janab Fatima Zahra because of this dream and this instruction of the Imam. Now, she was a narrator of ahadith. And the hadith that we recited about Allah wa man mata ala hubbi ali Muhammadin mata shahida, for example, has also been narrated by the Shia sources, and one of the source and chain of narration is by the women of the Ahlul-bayt. This hadith, for example, has been narrated by 19 women, of which Janab Fatima bint al-Musa al-Qadim is also one of them. And there are a couple of khususiyat. These are different generations from one to the other. And 18 out of 19 narrators are named Fatima. Exception is Zainab bint Ali salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi. And these are the daughters of the Aimma alayhimus salam. Every Imam named at least one daughter of his by the name of Fatima. Now, so therefore when we see, there are many ahadiths. For example, there is another hadith which has a chain of 9 women, one from the other, right up to Fatima Zahra, where it says that the daughter of Abdul Muttalib by the name Safiya, who was the aunt of Rasulullah, was the one who was in service of Fatima Zahra when Abu Abdullah al-Hussein was born, salawatullah wasalamu alayhi. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam was born, Safiya narrates, and this has been narrated by all this chain of Fawatim, as we say in plural, that when Imam Hussein was born, Rasulullah said, Safiya says that I was attending to Fatima, and Rasulullah said to me, "Oh my aunt, bring my child to me." I said, that is Safiya is now saying to Rasulullah, I have not yet washed or cleaned or made tahir of him. And Rasulullah immediately told me, "Oh my aunt, do you want to wash him when Allah the Most High has washed him and made him pure? Are you going to make pure something that was tayyib or tahir from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?" So this is the knowledge and the ma'rifah of the Ahlul-bayt and of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teachings of the Quran. These women folk were not only knowledgeable, they had ma'rifah to the stage that they used to teach Quran. They used to do tafsir of Quran amongst the women. They used to teach other sciences. And the first one of them who undertook this was none other than Zainab bint Ali salawatullahi wa salamu alayh. If we look at Janab Fatima Masuma's life, we see there is a narration that the manuscript also is available in the Shustari Library of Najaf today. It says that on one Friday, a number of pilgrims of Shias went to visit Imam Musa al-Kadhim salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, and to ask some questions that they wanted some important questions answered and for answers from them. But on that particular day, Imam had gone on a journey and was not around. So they wrote their questions on a paper and gave it to the family that when the Imam comes, please ask him to answer our questions so that we can go with the answers. A couple of days later, they came to say farewell to the Imam's family and the Imam and tell them that we are going, and if our questions were answered, the paper was returned to them with all the questions answered. But the Imam had not returned. So they took the answers, they were satisfied, and they understood the eloquence with which these questions were answered, and they were going on their way back. On their way back, they met the Imam on the way. And they narrated this incident, that they had gone to his house, and this is a question that they had presented, but the questions were already answered by somebody from his family. And when they are told that it is signed by Fatima Masuma, the daughter of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. So Imam asked for that manuscript and saw the manuscript and saw the questions and saw the answers. When he saw this, he remarked and he says, Fidaha Abuha. May her father be a sacrifice for her. And he repeated this 3 times. The way Rasulullah used to repeat this for Fatima Zahra. So this is the status of the women of Ahlul-bayt. That they had ma'rifah of Allah, they had ma'rifah of the deen. They were those who knew the mission of the Ahlul-bayt, the mission of the Aimma alayhimus salam, and they played a vital role in the mission of the Ahlul-bayt alayhimus salam. When Ma'mun al-Rashid, when he, after the death of Harun, his father, wanted to consolidate his power, he killed his own very brother Amin. And when he was doing this, he needed the support of the Shias. So one of the primary things that he did was in the year 200 Hijrah, he forced upon Imam Rida alayhi salam to leave Medina and come to Marv or Khurasan as we know. When Imam had to leave, now Imam, as we all know, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam had very many children. So when Imam was to leave, he informed his brethren, the brothers and sisters and all the family, that he is going and he may not meet them again. This is one Imam who asked the family to weep and do matam upon him in his lifetime when he was leaving Medina. But when he left, Fatima Ma'asuma was one who was very anxious about her brother, the Imam of the time, and could not bear that separation. Imam wrote a letter when it was already 1 year past. Imam Rida alayhi salam wrote a letter from Khurasan to Fatima Kummi in Medina that she can come to him and join him. Now this may be a narration that we have which is known popularly amongst the ulama, but not from what we have known from our cultural levels. So Fatima Ma'asuma with 23 members of her family, of the family of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, leaves Medina in a caravan under her brother Musa ibn Imam al-Qadi, or Harun, one of the two, I'm not very sure here. And it says that they left towards Marv via the road. Now, this is a distance of more than 1,000 miles from Medina to Qum. And Qum to Mashhad is 1,000 miles too. So she leaves in this caravan. The traveling conditions were very hostile. There were lots of enemies of Ma'amun that were placed. And when they reached Sawe, a village before, about 60 kilometers before Qom, that is when the soldiers of Ma'amun attacked this caravan and killed majority of the people, of the menfolk in this caravan, including Harun and Musa ibn Imam al-Qadim alayhi salam. And those who survived had to go back to Medina. They could not travel further. It is at this time that Fatima Masuma insisted that I must go to my brother in Marv. And that is the time when the lie and the rumor was spread that the Imam has died. So we are told, and many times we have heard, that Masuma could not bear the death of the Imam. But Janabe Masuma died in the lifetime of Imam Rida alayhi salam. When she still insisted of going further, it is said that a woman from the enemy's camp mixed poison in her food and poisoned Masuma. However, when she fell ill, she insisted that she wanted to reach at least Qom, because that was what was predicted for her. However, on the other side, in Qom, there was a man by the name of Musa ibn Khazraj al-Sa'ad al-Ash'ari, who was a very sincere companion of Imam Rida alayhi salam, who lived in Qom. Now, Qom, while Sawe was an entirely hostile population against the Ahlul-bayt, Qom even at that time was entirely a friendly population towards the Ahlul-bayt. So this Musa, when he heard about this attack on the caravan of Janabe Masuma, he went personally with a few people to Sawe to collect Janabe Fatima. It is at this time when he himself held the reins of the camel upon which Janabe Fatima was sick and ill to take her towards Qom. This is how she reached Qom. And he himself hosted her and served her in his own house. But it was just a couple of days that she was there, when the effect of the poison, the effect of the atrocities, the effect of not reaching her brother took its toll. And Janabe Fatima died out of this in Qom on the 12th or 10th of Rabiul Sani. When this happened, the family of Al-Sad, and this Musa especially, had a huge vast land which was undeveloped, which was called Babylon. He cleared that and created a crypt. A crypt is an underground room-like thing which is very large, to bury Fatima Masuma there. And the women folk prepared the body of Janabe Fatima. They prepared to bury her. But now there was a discussion that this daughter of Sayyid, this sister of Sayyid, this aunt of Sayyid, who is a Sayyida, who is an Alima, who is an Arifa, who is going to perform the final rites of laying her in her grave? Who will touch her body? This discussion was going on when it is said that there were two riders who came, a young man and a young child who came towards the crypt. They were both of their faces were covered. they stood there and they said that we will do the final rites. They recited Salatil Janaza, and then they buried Janabe Fatima. It is said that these two riders were none other than Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida, who came from Khurasan, and Imam Taqi al-Jawad, who came from Medina, to bury Fatima Ma'asuma and finally do her rites. And this is what we say, that, oh Fatima, oh Ma'asuma, you could not bear separation from your brother. And you saw your brothers being killed in Save, but they will remember another sister on the day of Ashura. There is nothing like Zainab bint Ali that you saw. Zainab was with Hussein when he went to bring bodies upon bodies of his companions and friends from morning till Zohar, till Asr. Zainab saw Imam Hussein bring the mutilated body of Qasim bint ibn Hassan. Zainab saw the body of Ali al-Akbar being brought and carried by Imam. Zainab saw the sacrilege and saw the dhulm upon Ali al-Asghar. It did not end there, oh Fatima. Zainab saw Shimr sitting on the chest of Abu Abdullah. Zainab saw him cutting off the head of Abu Abdullah and raising it on the spear. Zainab did not stop here. Zainab saw the burning of the tents. Zainab had to save the children and the widows of the family of Rasulullah. That was not all. The Imam of the time, Imam Sajjad, was chained and dragged from city to city. Zainab had to witness and be paraded without her hijab from village to village, city to city, palace to palace. Oh Fatima, at least Imam Rida and your nephew came to bury you. But Zainab was one who was paraded by the body of Abu Abdullah when he was unburied and left on the plains of Karbala. Ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya min kalabin yankadibun. Matam Hussein.